This is Locked On Bulldogs. We are
Just get
back.
in line if you
Just
got a
get
problem
in
with it.
line. If you got
like,
a
just
problem with us, I don't really care because we're talking about, upon further review one more time, we're talking about Georgia's, quote, cupcake schedule.
Ooh, it's Cupcake City. Ain't no good teams on there, Clint.
Ain't played nobody.
They ain't playing
Paul,
nobody. Yeah.
well, what if I had to tell you that we have played people and we are going to play people? And so the narrative that Georgia hasn't played anybody is a utter joke. And we're going to talk about that as we're looking towards this bye week next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint. I am Daniel. LinkedIn Jobs, thank you so much for bringing us today's episode. More on them in a second. Today, Clint, it's a bye week. Normally, we would spend a Tuesday getting excited, looking ahead to an opponent on our schedule coming up this following weekend. Georgia's opponent this weekend is nobody. And so
we have played nobody.
We've got some other things. We haven't played nobody yet, but we are about to play nobody. And then everyone will be correct. So we're going to spend our time talking about Georgia's schedule, the quote unquote cupcake schedule. What have we seen out of the teams that Georgia has already played? What have we seen out of the teams that Georgia is yet to play? And what does that mean for this Georgia team moving forward in the rest of the season? First, thank you all so much. If you're listening on audio, thank you so much for subscribing, for leaving us a rating and review. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for being one of the 7,500 subscribers. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know that you're there. Clint.
Yeah.
Georgia's opponents aren't any good. So there's really no intrigue to this schedule. There's no games to look forward to. There's really nothing for Georgia fans to be nervous about.
Because just
sleepwalk through the entire schedule. Is that I'm not incorrect in that, am I?
Well, Daniel, what else to tell you? First of all, that if not for, by the way, South Carolina, you may think about checking LinkedIn for some head coaching candidates, because
remember when you loved Shane Beamer so much?
Beamer. I did. And then what had happened is he started blaming literally everybody but himself for the deplorable coaching that he is in fact doing. So there's that.
Tough couple weekends for your coach crushes, Shane Beamer and Mark Stoops, Clint. Tough couple weekends for that crew. It ain't going great.
It's not going great. I thought they had something. In fact, they don't have anything. I think South Carolina, although, again, best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, Rattler.
Definitively not as good as Carson Beck at this point.
Definitively not as good as Carson Beck currently. When we played them, Spencer was showing out.
Balling.
So we have that under about.
I don't think Spencer Rattler's the problem when you give up 41 points to Florida.
There it is. That's the thing that I was going to say. It's clear
a real
as day.
Problem.
I know who the problem is. But if you look at the schedule, clearly we have bye week, and then we go Florida. Florida just put it on South Carolina. South Carolina doesn't have a great defense. Mertz is looking apparently all SEC worthy in the last 5 minutes of that game, which is just crazy to me to think about some more. I don't know how Florida did that. I don't know how Beamer allowed them to do that, but he did allow them to. And then you get Missouri, who, I watched the second half of that game against Kentucky, Daniel.
Yeah.
There were 3 plays on 3 different drives that old Eli was cooking on his play scheme.
He was in the bag, man.
There were very sophisticated play calls and very just perfect pin dropping. That tight end leak that came out of the play action against the formation to get that was incredible play calling. I liked a lot of things Drink did on offense. So we play them November 4th. Okay, that's going to be a game, y'all.
That's a big time game.
That's a game.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say this.
I mean, the score against LSU was not all that close, but go watch the end of that game. That's not indicative of the way that the game went. Missouri was right there, blow for blow with LSU. That's the only game that Missouri has lost. And they're getting better and better. That quarterback is getting better and better every single week.
Cooks, man, he is.
And the offensive skill talent, Clint, you mentioned the tight end, obviously Luther Burden. The offensive skill talent is there. The defense is formidable as well. That's a real game, November 4th.
Now, again, we get them at home, which
that's nice. We do enjoy that.
We enjoy a home game. We know Kirby's home cooking against top SEC schools at home. He puts it on them typically. Mm-hmm. It is a whole different level that Kirby's able to do. So we have something going there. But yeah, you mentioned, I think, one of the better wide receivers talent-wise in the entire SEC, in the entire nation, really. Luther is a dude out there.
There's no doubt that he is an absolute dude.
So I think Missouri is don't laugh at them. I know early on in the season we thought to ourselves, kind of smoke and mirrors, kind of drinking fits, CPA joke, but again, he's not intimidating. I just wish he would give up the intimidating thing. I think he would do well for himself if he just stopped trying to be mean and tough and just welcomed I have my glasses, I'm cooking in the kitchen with these schemes and little flash motion stuff out of the backfield, stuff leaking out to the other side, because he is quite incredible on that.
Missouri gets South Carolina at home next weekend, a game they should win. I mean, who knows? It's college football. It's at home in Como. They should win that game. That's the weekend before, and then they have a bye the weekend of Georgia, Florida, getting ready for the Georgia game. So you got Missouri coming off a bye, and they will almost without a doubt be 7-1 at that point going into the season. They'll be ranked in the top 20 easily. Another big game in Athens.
Another big game.
It'll be another big one.
Now we hope it's the same thing as Kentucky. Again, a big undefeated top 20 matchup coming to Athens, SEC rival, yada, yada, yada. And don't hate me on the rival thing, because again, I think Stoops believes is a rival. Kirby likes beating Stoops, so don't hate me for that. It's not a traditional rivalry, but it is kind of a recent one. Mizzou is going to put up a fight in that game, so be looking out for it. We're going to come back after this, and we're going to talk more of what it looks like on Georgia's schedule. But first, these. And these are, in fact, LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. Post your job for free. Maybe you're a South Carolina fan. Maybe you're looking for a head coach. Maybe you're looking for an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator. Or maybe you're thinking to yourself, let's hit reset for the
shut it all down.
15th time in only 8 years. I don't know how many more times South Carolina could say, we're going to hit the reset. We're going to try it again because we're a traditional powerhouse.
Maybe Steve Spurrier will come back.
Old ball coach, get that visor, dust it off. Let's come on back. LinkedIn Jobs. If he is there, he's going to be on LinkedIn Jobs, and you're looking for something.
All the good candidates are, so I would imagine he wouldn't be.
I wouldn't imagine why he wouldn't be. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. Post your job for free. They have millions and millions of network support people that you can connect with. They have the right candidates for your position, your team, what you need. Don't waste your time trying to figure out all useless conversations and questions elsewhere. Go to LinkedIn Jobs, LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. Post your job for free right now.
So, Clint, we talked about Florida, obviously, riding a little bit high, got taken to the woodshed by Kentucky, but was able to bounce back and get a much needed victory against South Carolina. Obviously got right against Vanderbilt as well. They already have a win against Tennessee on the schedule. We talked about Missouri the following week. But Missouri, that's probably the last ranked team that Georgia will have on the schedule. Is that accurate? It's a cupcake schedule after all, Clint.
We have nobody we're playing. Oh, what if I was to tell you the week following that, Daniel, that we have right now, what is a 13th ranked, could possibly be top 10 ranked Ole Miss coming into town, Daniel. Yes, neutral site game, Jacksonville. Missouri at home, and then the week following we have Mississippi coming in, Daniel. This just in. The Missouri game, okay, they're more balanced of a team. But if you're concerned with our defense, Daniel, if that brings you some consternation,
okay, I'm gonna reach over here for the bucket that's over here near me. Will you keep talking? It's fine.
What if I told you that Lane Kiffin has himself a running back that has skill? Performance has been low, but has the skill, and a quarterback who looks to be breaking Ole Miss passing records as we speak. In an offense that Lane Kiffin doesn't care about anything other than scoring bunches of points.
Well, he certainly did score bunches of points against LSU, 55 to be exact. Yikers.
Well, that's quite a bit.
Ole Miss obviously sitting on just the one loss of this on the season so far, on the road in Tuscaloosa at Alabama. They're on the road at Auburn. I've heard it's a tough place to play. I'm not sure if I can validate that or not.
We got in, we got out. We're moving on.
There's no way that anyone could know. And then they catch Vanderbilt and Texas A&M leading up to the Georgia game. So it's a crapshoot. It's college football. Who knows? But there's a very real possibility that you could be looking at an 8-1 Ole Miss team rolling in to Athenstown on November the 11th. Potential, if that's the case, you're dealing with a potential with a top 10 team that you're talking about there.
They are 8-1. They are the 9th or 8th ranked team in the nation when they come in.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And yes, could they lose to Texas A&M at home on November 4th? Absolutely, they could. I mean, could they lose to Auburn this weekend? Absolutely, they could. On the road at Jordan-Hare, they could do that. But Jackson Dart, man, I maybe have been wrong about Jackson Dart. I said earlier in the season I didn't think he was a quarterback. He didn't look like a quarterback. I watched that Tulane game early in the year. He didn't play like a quarterback. It did not. But Lane Kiffin's got him going. And so and they're looking good. But surely, Clint, we get through Missouri, we get through Ole Miss. That's all the ranked teams on the schedule. It is a cupcake schedule after all. Am I wrong?
Well, what if I were to tell you that you then had to go up to old Mustard Golf Course, the old
Mustard Golf Course,
the old mustard putting greens of deplorable and abjectly awful people, turf, and stadium of Neyland.
Listen, if you are upset at Clint in any way for speaking this way, go to Knoxville one time and then come talk to me. Just one time.
And don't even get out of your car. Just pass through.
Listen to me. Listen. Listeners, come in close. Don't get out of your car.
We don't want to be responsible for you being shivved.
Telling you don't get out of your car. Thank you.
Okay. No, we got to go up to Tennessee, Daniel. Right now, Tennessee's 17th ranked.
What's Tennessee doing these
they're
days?
top
They're not
20.
doing anything. How's that Texas A&M team that I was just talking
How them
about?
Aggies.
Good Lord.
How them overalls fitting right now. Jimbo Fisher. I need a meme of Jimbo running out of College State with just overalls and money like falling out of the overalls as he's running, just stuffed so it's seen like bulging and just bills are flowing through. I need that.
Somebody in the graphics department, get on that. Clint needs that.
Need that.
Get him the graphic.
No, Tennessee did get the win against A&M. A&M should have won that game. It was awful and horrible, but they're winning. Their defense is
it's a different Tennessee team. I don't even know if Tennessee fans like this team.
They don't.
This is a different Tennessee team. It's built on defense and it's built on running the football. They literally do not trust their quarterback to do anything with the football. They don't let him throw at all.
Well, why would you, Daniel? I think the last game, let's look at his stats from the aforementioned A&M. Joe Milton, 11 of 22 for 100 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against A&M.
This is Josh Heupel offense.
Yeah.
100 yards passing.
Yeah.
What are we even doing?
In a blowout game against South Carolina, 41-20, Joe Milton was 21 of 32, 239 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. They won in spite of him, and it was a blowout in spite of him.
Yeah, because the defense is very good. The running game is very good. They don't have any wide receivers, but the offensive line is playing great. The running game is playing great, and the defense is absolutely, especially in the front, the defense is is absolutely legit. They keep finding ways to win games. Now, obviously, we're talking about schedules. Tennessee is a long time before the Georgia game, and Tennessee's got a rough go of it. They go at Alabama, at Kentucky.
Oof.
They catch UConn at home, and then at Missouri. They have 3 conference road games before Georgia comes into town. How many of those games is Tennessee going to win, Clint? I'm putting the over-under at 1.5 at Alabama, at Kentucky, at Missouri.
They're winning Kentucky, and that's it.
That's a tough go of it.
That's a tough go. Now, more to the point, they're ranked right now, and I understand they might not be ranked when we play them. But here's the point. How much does Heupel want to get revenge for last year? How much do they, with all of a sudden it turned to their Super Bowl is Georgia at home? It's going to be a raucous environment still.
There's going to be a lot of mustard.
We're not talking high cheese fastball. We are talking.
No, we're not. Baseball's not a real sport, so why would we?
Why would I waste my time on a pointless sport like baseball?
And if you would, shame on you.
Can't help you
if you don't want to help yourself.
We're going to come back after this and wrap it up. But first, these. And these are, in fact, prize picks. Right now, Daniel, you can take all the knowledge that you have about college football. We've been watching all these games. We know all these games. We know how players perform.
We've seen them move. We've seen them do the things. We know what defenses are susceptible. We know the run versus the pass. We know what players are probably going to have good weeks, what players are probably going to be down. But if only there was a way I could use that information and leverage my knowledge of which players are going to perform well in order to gain money. Clint, could I do that?
Well, that's why Prize Picks is here. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege and deposit up to $100 and get it matched by Prize Picks. They're going to give you free money to take all that knowledge to see which players are going to underperform, overperform, set the line, and you just say better or worse than what the line is set at. That's it, Daniel. It's very, very simple. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. First deposit match for new listeners. Use code LockedOnCollege. Get up to $100 in match guaranteed right there. PrizePicks.com.
Almost a real short episode today. Hit the ad read button, almost hit the end recording button.
That's a Freudian. That's more than a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
That's more because the end recording button is a far away.
The mind wants what it wants, Clint. I don't know what to tell you here. Okay. Let's end with this for the 199. Now we normally don't like to be so negative. We're generally very positive people. We're generally the 199 know this about us. They know they've been through the ringer with us. They know that we it's not like we built this podcast around our negativity of Georgia football.
It's not like we started this podcast. The first one that went big.
Heck of a callback from Gurf, by the way, on the Overreaction show.
The cathartic dumping that was the loss to Alabama a number of years ago in the college football playoff. It's not like we started the podcast with that.
Gurf, let us know how Hedgehog Gate is going. We are all curious to know, and so we anxiously await word from you on that front. Listen, give me your overall probability of an undefeated season for the University of Georgia as we sit here right now, knowing everything that we know. Obviously, we both made that prediction going into the season, but we've seen some things, Clint. We can't unsee them. They're here with they're all, it's all out there in front of God and everybody.
It is.
We know who we are a little bit. We know who the teams on the remainder of our schedule are a little bit. We just went through these matchups: Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Obviously, we didn't talk about Georgia Tech because, come on. Overall probability of an undefeated season between 0 and 100%. Clint, how are you feeling at this moment?
Okay, I'm going to talk my way through my feels.
Okay, this is what we're here for. Let's lay it out on the couch.
199 for fans by fans. Y'all know this. The 0% bucket has increased quite a bit.
There's not there's not zero chance you pick 0% as your answer.
This is what I'm saying. If you gave me 100 times of doing this on different times of my day, there's going to be a higher likelihood and a higher frequency that I'm going to choose. No, it's 0%. We're not making out of the season undefeated, because that's a gauntlet to go up to Tennessee to play Ole Miss and have to stop Lane with a defense that's suspect in many people's estimation right now, and then play Missouri, who's a very competent team, all around team, playing their greatest ball right now. It's a wild thing. So that's higher. Now, my percentage, the number of times I'm choosing 100%, like I did before the season, actually has kind of remained steady. So everything has kind of spread out. It stayed steady. It's just kind of trickled all the way over. It's now leveled out, Daniel. So here's where I'm going to end with that. I think right now it's a 50-50 coin flip that we end undefeated, because it's leveled out, because I'm still confident that we can. But you're talking 3 of those games to remain healthy. We get news out of the bye week. We come out of Florida more banged up. We were hitting our high note with injury. We were getting healthy. We were getting all the right guys there. We have our offensive line struggling and shuffling all over the place. Our defense isn't coming into form quite yet. There's too many questions. So right now, I think it's a coin flip that we lose 1 out of 3 games. Now, that's, first of all, Georgia fan, before you yell at me for saying that,
yell at him.
That's quite remarkable, if I can remind you, to go through 3 top 20 teams and have it be a coin flip that you only lose 1 of those games. It's remarkable. Just saying.
An 11-1 season. There's nothing wrong with that. Still puts you in a position to make college football playoff. Still puts you in a position to do all the things that you want to do, need to do in order to see that done. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna plug in my computer, because I see that the battery is dying. And we've all been there before. We're not going to get there again, because
it's almost like, just really quick, Daniel, it's almost like you do this enough times. And this is probably like the first time it's happened, because if you did this enough times, you would probably plug it in before it got to that point. But
all right, I don't need that kind of thing from you. I'm gonna go actually a little bit more confident than you in Georgia's prospects to go undefeated.
It's quite remarkable, actually.
It is, because I'm generally lower on this team, I think, than you are. But I still think Georgia's got what it takes to beat these 4 teams. I'm grouping Florida in there too. I don't put Georgia Tech in. Florida could beat Georgia. Like, there is a world in which Florida beats Georgia. There's no world in which Georgia Tech beats Georgia. So, like I'm saying, there's 4 losable games. Now, they have different odds of being lost, but I'm going to put it more like 60-40 that Georgia goes undefeated. I'm going to say the probability of there being 60% undefeated. I'm going to go like 30% one loss. This is where we differ. And I'm going to say there's like a 10% chance Georgia loses multiple games this season. So like I'm on the one hand, yeah, exactly. I'm more confident in Georgia's ability to go undefeated. On the other hand, I think the bottom could fall out. And Georgia could lose more than 1 of these games on the schedule. And I'm not prepared to live in that world.
It's kind of like if you had a historic offense for all regular season, and then you just
stop it.
That's wild.
Stop it.
I think that's why I'm a coin flip. I think you've put to words why I'm coin flip 50-50, because the bottom is down there for Georgia this year. Like it's
Georgia could lose and again, Georgia could lose to Florida.
Yeah.
Like that's not outside the realm of possibility at all.
Nope.
3 weeks ago, I would have said you were crazy if you had told me that. All right. Last thing before we go. Which team is it going to be if Georgia loses a game? Most likely loss on the schedule.
Most likely loss is Tennessee.
I think most likely loss is Ole Miss. The week before Tennessee, I think Georgia's going to handle Tennessee. I honestly don't think Tennessee can do anything that's going to disrupt Georgia. I know it's on the road and that's a really tough environment, but I don't think Georgia can do anything. I think Ole Miss is the team that really scares me against this Georgia defense. And you get into a back and forth affair, and that makes me very nervous. So maybe we'll just lose both. Who the heck knows?
Maybe. Hey, let's just lose. By the way, I'm seeing early lines right now for Florida, Georgia.
Talk to me.
What? 23?
No. Georgia's not favored by 23 points. Georgia's not favored by 23 points. If there's a site out there where you can bet Florida plus 23, I'm about to go empty the account on it. And I'm not sure I've ever bet against Georgia in my entire life, even in a spread.
Well, it was 20.5 before the season. You can get lines, but
sure, that was before the season. There is no world in which Georgia should be a 23-point favorite.
Zero world.
No.
Zero.
That's lunacy. All right. We'll be back the rest of the week. We got lots more to talk about this team, about this season, about the Georgia Bulldogs, and we'll see you guys then.